Welcome back to Here and Now. Paul Lane is raising concerns about snow clearing equipment out of service. Earlier in the show, you heard how government is responding to issues around broken equipment and just how much snow it takes before crews are called in. Well, today I met up with the independent MHA at the snow clearing depot in St. John's. What do you find when it comes to the state of repair for all the equipment that's out there for the Department of Transportation Works?
Well, I was provided with, information over a 4-day period. It covered December 29th, 30th, January 2nd, and January 3rd. And it was for the entire Avalon Peninsula. And what I found was for 3 depots in particular, which was the Donovan's Depot, Foxtrap, and Whitburn, we had equipment availability with numbers like 22%, 30%, 50%, 65%. So that's quite low. I mean, obviously, and these are about the high volume traffic areas. For example, like when we're talking Donovan's Depot, we're talking about the Trans-Canada, like leaving St. John's and heading out towards Holy Road. We're talking Pitts Memorial. We're talking the Outer Ring Road, the Robert E. Howlett Highway. These are roads that are covered by this equipment. So when you have like only 20-odd% of the equipment available, well, then obviously the roads are not getting done, or at least they're not getting done nearly on time. So that's a concern for sure.
Have you been given any sort of explanation about why so much of the equipment is down for repairs?
Well, what I've been told, by sources, is that there seems to be an issue with the number of mechanics available to actually repair the equipment. I've been also told that there may be some shortage in operators, but the big issue is around the number of mechanics, that they just simply cannot keep up with the repairs.
What impact do you think this is having on the snow clearing that we've seen over the last few weeks?
Well, obviously it's having a major impact. I mean, we've seen stories in the news, on social media and so on, of road conditions which are very poor and unsafe. And I think it appears to be a combination of 2 things. One is the equipment availability factor, and the other one is this new policy as it relates to nighttime snow clearing.
So let's just talk a little bit about that. This is areas that they no longer have 24-hour coverage. It's basically on call for evenings and weekends. And what concern do you have about how often they're getting called out? Well,
first of all, I think it's important to note that it was never 24/7. It used to be 24-hour coverage during the weekdays. And what used to happen is that they used to have a reduced snow clearing crew on in the night shift for the high traffic areas, such as the ones around the St. John's area as an example. What has now changed is that instead of actually having those operators on shift, they're only called in as needed. Now, the key is the as needed part. And the criteria that they're using is that it must be the snow has to be predicted that there's going to be more than 10 centimeters in the snow forecast. So therefore, in the past, if you had, say, 5 to 10 centimeters, there would be crews in, albeit a reduced crew, clearing that snow. Now, if we get a forecast of 5 to 10 centimeters, there's nobody called in. And of course, if that snow was not getting cleared, then you're going to have cars driving over it early in the morning, people going to the airport, the hospital, and so on. It's going to be compacting that snow and turning it all to ice. If it's not cleared and we have mild weather, then it's all turned to slush. So when we hear people talking about the roads were slushy and slippery, or that we have a washboard effect, it's all icy, I would suggest that's why it's happening.
So would you be happy then if government changed the criteria and lowered that level so that if there was, say, 5 centimeters of snow, the crews got called in rather than waiting for there to be 10?
Well, I can't say for certain what that number should be. And of course, we know that weather in Newfoundland is very unpredictable anyway. It might call for 5, we could have 10, we could have 20. I think that the system that we had in place with the reduced snow clearing shift on in the nighttime for these high traffic areas, I think that that should be reinstated. I think we need to look at other places to save that money. We cannot put people's lives at risk, because traveling our highways is, in my view, an essential service. It's not something that we can take chances on.